Hey everyone, this is Shaun Yurtkuran. You've heard me on WYAB on the radio, and you can also catch me on the new Hulu series Death in the Dorm Season 2. I just wanted to introduce you all to my law firm, the Yurtkuran Law Firm. I'm located over in Fondren on Mill Street in Jackson, Mississippi. I've got over 18 years of law practice under my belt, including a decade as a felony prosecutor in Hinds County and at the Mississippi Attorney General's office. I spent all those years putting bad guys away. Now let me help keep you out. You can call me anytime at 601-906-9094 for a consultation, or just if you want to talk about something about your case. I'm committed to helping you navigate the complexities of the legal system, which I know can be difficult and confusing and downright scary at times. Let me help you use my experience to explain the system to you and how it works and how I can best help you. You can call me again at 601-906-9094 to discuss any of this and any of your worries. Trust me to handle your defense, where it is going to be my priority and your future will be my focus.
Boom, shaka, laka, boom. You've tuned in to the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. I am joined here with a special guest on a Monday to unpack a big weekend of shenanigans. I got Shaun Yurtkuran here in the studio with me. Good morning, Shaun.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Well,
Happy to be here on a Monday for the first time ever.
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, what should I say? The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Just got an early text here. Let's see what it says. It says, one of these days I'm going to tune into your show and there won't be any news about bloodthirsty thugs shooting each other in the criminal safe haven of Jackson, Mississippi. Today is not that day. I don't know if we're actually, sometimes we just won't talk about Jackson because it gets nauseating. But there were some people shot at a gas station over the weekend. I think 2 different occasions, mind you.
Yeah, I was on the phone with you when I saw one of them. I was like, oh, there we go. No, somebody else shot at the gas station.
I'm telling you, do not stop at Jackson gas stations. Gas station owners, I mean, I hate it for y'all. I'm sure some of y'all are good folks, but you're selling all that paraphernalia and stuff in there, and it just attracts a trashy crowd, and, you trash in, trash out. That's how it works, And, of course, nothing you can do about the drive-bys and shenanigans that take place right out in front of the gas stations. That's just the nature of the location.
Yeah.
So, look, that's going to be part of Jackson. That's why we need to elect a good, strong mayor like Kim Wade. Come in there and bust that stuff up at the door.
He would. He'd definitely do that.
He would.
He's really doing. I got the Wade sticker on my car still, so let's hope he doesn't.
Y'all check out my podcast with Kim Wade. Posted it up last week. It's got video and audio available. Kim sat down with me for an hour and a half exactly, and we broke it down. We broke it down and hit a lot of good topics. It's available on my podcast. Just search Clay Edwards Show if you just want to listen to it. If you want to look at our mugs and partake in the video, which I think that does make it a little bit better when you can read body language and stuff like that. It's available on my YouTube and Rumble. Just search Save Jackson or Clay Edwards Show. All right. Shaun, we're going to get into some stuff in the second segment. Our little story Friday that was just something kind of funny. It wasn't about a 5-minute conversation talking about a rumor.
Yeah.
Of talking about a rumor of some legislators, some lobbyists, and some naked waitresses doing body shots. That really caught fire over the weekend.
Quite a bit.
And initially, it wasn't even a story. It was just a joke. It was like, it was a rumor. I mean, we told you what we heard. I mean, we didn't make anything up. We prefaced it by saying, hey, this is allegedly, these are rumors, it's not material fact. Well, the reaction is now the story.
It has been quite it's something that, and you and I we've talked all weekend, but we'll let the audience know. It's, the night before we dropped the Goon Squad story, we were both kind of nervous. You remember that because it was a big story, and this is we had it, the New York Times report. But this was not something we even thought about. I mean, It wasn't anything that you and I had thought like, oh man, this is some big dig stuff or anything. We just thought it was kind of funny because it's stuff we would have done.
Yeah, we've rattled some important cages, and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
In the next segment. But first, I saw this morning right as I was getting out of the car. Today is the legendary, may God rest his soul, Vinnie Paul, drummer for Pantera. Today is his birthday. And I was out in the car waiting on Shaun to get here this morning, kind of playing on Facebook, and I I shared the post. I'm like, man, one of the coolest nights of my life is the night that I got to party with Pantera. And Shaun said, you got to party with Pantera? I said, yeah. So they was on their last tour, the Reinventing the Steel tour. It would have been 2000, somewhere between 2000 and 2002. I can't remember exactly. I still got the backstage pass in my little collection. But so me and Chip Matthews go down to Biloxi a night early. Chip liked to gamble, at the time. So we go down there to the casino. We'd been on this little Southern concert / gambling tour for a good year now at this point. Every weekend, anytime there was a concert in Memphis, New Orleans, Biloxi, Birmingham, we would hit it and kind of make a casino trip out of it, minus Birmingham. I don't know if there's any casinos over there. But anyway, we're down there. We're playing blackjack at the Beau Rivage. Again, a night early. The show ain't until the next night. Well, lo and behold, who comes walking through the casino floor? It's Pantera. You got everybody but the singer Phil. You had Vinnie Paul, Dimebag, Rex Brown, and their head of security, a fellow named Mayhem. Dime and Mayhem got killed in that club when the guy jumped on stage.
Wow.
When they were playing a damage plan.
Mm-hmm.
So the security guard and Dime got killed in that moment. Rex and Vinny survived and went on about their lives, but Vinny passed away of a heart condition or something a couple of years ago. And so we're sitting there. They come and they sit down at our table. It's like, you've got to be kidding.
That's pretty cool.
What are the chances?
I mean, yeah.
And they got this famous shot. It's called a black tooth. I think it's Jack Daniels and Jaeger or something like that mixed together. I forget exactly what it is. It's got Jack Daniels, or maybe it's Jack Daniels and Coke. I don't remember what it is, what's in it, but it's like, get you a pull. That was our saying, get you a pull.
Yeah.
And so somehow or another we start shooting tequila.
Oh.
And we're chasing it with these black tooths.
Were these body shots?
No, they weren't. There was physical contact. So you're doing it. So imagine just somebody at the far left, and they're shaped like a horseshoe, these blackjack tables, right? So the far left, the first person was shooting, and it would work its way to the right. And when you did it, you smacked them you chopped the person beside you's chest. And I just remember getting down to, it was my turn to slap Chip. Mm-hmm. He's like, you better not slap me. I don't think we talked the rest of the night, but anyway, so we had a good time with that, man. Got to play blackjack with Pantera, and then there's that Biloxi, at least in the Beau Rivage at the time.
You're playing blackjack with Pantera?
Yeah,
that's a story in itself. I'm sitting there with Pantera playing blackjack.
Playing blackjack and get a pull, doing black tooth or whatever it was called, and with Pantera, the story could have stopped there and it would still be epic, but we anyway, they ended up getting our names and stuff, and they put us on the list. They're like, y'all down for the concert? I'm like, we are. He's like, y'all got tickets? And even though anytime I get asked that, I always say no. Mm-hmm. Because somebody's about to give you something for free, you better take it. Yeah. I'm like, no, we didn't. We were hoping to get some. He's like, well, we got you on the list or whatever. We just thought we were getting free tickets. It is what it is. So we had already called like 2 other friends to come up because we were going to get them our free tickets. Mm-hmm. Well, I go to the will call, and there's all access passes.
Oh, man.
In this thing. And Pantera is famous for their backstage party and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
So you just walk, they had like this green room. Now we didn't get to see them again necessarily, but there's a fellow named Steve Joseph, who's from Jackson, who's like the best pyro guy in the business. So he was out with them, and we got to first time I got to meet Steve. He's Nickelback's pyro guy. Pantera, I mean, that's just awesome in itself. But Pantera's pyro guy, and we got to meet Steve and. Kind of ran into the whole Jackson regime that was down there for the show. And I just remember there's a photo of me, Chip, and Justin. He's the singer in the band Lobotomy.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
There's a picture of us holding a gallon of Crown. Just way with, and probably had too much of it.
Did you have a jean jacket on? That would just make the photo better.
No, this was my black shirt, camouflage shorts days.
Oh, okay.
You got to go to Pantera in character. Black cargo shorts or camouflage cargo shorts and a ripped up T-shirt. Yeah. You got to, grungy as possible. So that was that time. Good times. And so that's my Pantera, partying with Pantera story.
That's awesome, man.
And we got other stories like that. If I can remember them, I'll tell them over the course of shows. But that was what's fun about that one is that was prior to having any real connections in the concert business.
Okay. You didn't know it was before you were doing all that stuff?
Yeah, so right at the beginning of it. We did that through just sheer luck.
It was just, okay.
Had nothing to do with having to connect, being able to call an agent or a manager or friends or anything like that. That was just right place, right time. Here they're playing blackjack, and they come and sit down with us.
That is amazing.
Little did we know that the band was going to break up and people were going to die, and that was going to be the last opportunity we ever had to see Dime and Vinnie. Now, actually, that's not 100% true. Dime and Vinnie, their other band, Damage Plan, came to Jackson. I did go to that show, but I didn't get to meet them again. But, so I did get to see them one more time after that.
That's cool.
Let's do this. Let's take an early break, come back, and we're going to jump straight into the Capitol body shots controversy. And again, we're not going to name any names. I ain't up for all that. But we're going to explain the reaction, and I want y'all's opinion on it. Do y'all think it happened or not? That's going to be the question of the day after we get back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, you're looking for somewhere to get breakfast this morning? Swing by Burgers, Blues, Barbecue. Their Madison and Flowood locations are serving their fresh baked biscuits with chicken in the middle. So they got the chicken biscuits, they got chicken and waffles, and more served fresh every morning right there at the Madison and Flowood location. Flowood location is now open right there in Dogwood, right in front of Dick's Sporting Goods. Of course, if you're looking for a great blue plate lunch, all three locations, Madison, Flowood, and downtown Brandon, are serving blue plate lunches every day. You can get a hamburger steak every day, and they have an alternating meat to go along with it. Hey, when you got the best hamburger in town, you might as well offer hamburger steak as a blue plate, right? Really great option for you guys doing keto or low carb type stuff, carnivore, as well as grab a burger, grab a chicken wrap, try the Nashville hot wings. Somebody was there the other night on the Guns and Gear text line and text me, or Saturday, and text me a picture of their cheese sticks. Oh. And it was like, wow. That's a lot of cheese.
I know you're an expert on those.
They are. There's like they look so good. It's like I suddenly was craving mozzarella logs. It's really does a disservice to them to call them sticks. They are logs. We need our friends over at Advanced Tree Care to come cut these things in half so we can eat them. All right, we'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, this segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at Foremost Foundation and Construction. For foundations, Foremost uses an innovative polyfoam technology that, with great precision, can in fact correct and restore sinking concrete very quickly. They provide solutions for the long term that can improve the ability of the actual soil to support the foundation or concrete slabs. This stuff's really neat. I've actually seen this stuff in action, this foam technology, polyfoam technology. It really is phenomenal what they can do with this stuff nowadays. It almost works like a jack of sorts to
I've seen that. It's pretty
fill
cool.
the foundation stuff. It's really neat. So thanks to their specially designed rigs, they can drill and lift without the need for heavy excavation. Man, that's when it gets expensive. You ever hear a contractor mention the word excavation? It's five figures.
Pull out your credit card.
It's five figures. Yeah, you better have some money, son. Anyways, look, their team has decades worth of experience. They've tried all the old tricks. They know what works, and they have weeded out which ones don't. Experts in foundation repair, polyfoam, drainage, seawalls, and retaining walls. ForemostFoundation.com. That's Foremost Foundations with an S. ForemostFoundations.com. Check them out. Let them know you heard it here on the Clay Edwards Show. I know Shaun sent a customer their way.
Yeah, a friend of mine called me because he heard the ad. So.
Excellent. All right, so let's jump into it, man. I know what y'all are here for.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make you wait long.
So I got up on a Monday morning, I mean, I'm usually awake, but I would be sitting there drinking coffee and about to walk the dog by now. So.
Based on some of the reaction from this weekend, I thought it was best to have my lawyer here in the studio with me this morning. Mm-hmm. So look, without going back into this, I understand there's kids in the car this morning and stuff. I don't want y'all to change the channel, and I'm not going to put y'all in an awkward situation. Just quick recap. Allegedly, lobbyists, legislators, back room at a legendary restaurant. Waitress gets allegedly paid, bribed, some form or fashion, into taking her clothes off and letting them do shots of liquor off of her, a.k.a. body shots. That's where we're calling it the Capitol body shots controversy. Yeah, these people work at the Capitol. You get the play on words. We had a famous body shop around here, Capitol Body Shop, Capitol Body Shots. It just sounds good. Anyway, well, we told this story. We told it in gist, layered it again with a big grain of allegedly.
Yeah, I think we said many times we have no. I guess that we're not saying this is material fact because we don't know.
Within 30 minutes of me leaving here Friday, I'm getting messages from people associated with the governor and others. Hey, Clay, I know all the people that were there that night, and they all say this didn't happen. A lot of crazy stuff happens at during session, but this ain't one of them. I'm offended that somebody thinks I'm stupid enough. And there's no offense to this guy, but I've watched what goes on in this town.
Yeah.
I've been a part of what goes on in the underbelly of this town. To tell me that something, frankly, as PG-13, as body shots, didn't happen is insulting. Mm-hmm. And here's the other thing, and I brought this to Shaun's attention yesterday. We never mentioned the name of the restaurant. We never mentioned a date, a time frame, none of that. But a lot of people have been real quick to run to these people's defense and say these words here. I know everybody that was there that night at that dinner. This didn't happen. Well, hold on. What night? What dinner are y'all talking about? You're telling me it didn't happen, and I didn't tell you who, what, when, or where, but you're quick to tell me you know everybody that was there that night, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then we're getting through other people unaffiliated that are at the Capitol, getting messages, hey, can you get Clay to take that down? It's making us look bad. Mm-hmm. Make yourselves look bad. And the good people at the Capitol, like the two that actually had this conversation, a good guy messaged another good guy and said, hey, this is just making all of us look bad. Can you get him to take it down? Right. Neither of those two were involved in this. I want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
And that's where some self-policing comes in. Like, y'all need to call them guys out. Say, hey, quit making us look bad.
Yeah.
Doing dumb stuff like this. And it's just I've heard everything from, hey, they're exploring legal options. Again,
heard that.
Who is they?
I was just like, because we didn't, I think we talked about this. I still don't even know who was there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you know. And we've actually, people have tried to reach out to me and tell me who was there, but I said, I don't want to know. Because I didn't realize it was going to be this big of a deal Friday when we talked about it. And we didn't know. I still don't know. You don't know. And, we know some of the parties, but not the legislators. And I specifically don't want to know because we just didn't give much thought, I think. Wouldn't you agree with that? We just didn't really think about it.
Yeah, I want to be clear here because I know that the lobbyist is most likely listening this morning based on the screenshot I saw yesterday. This ain't about him.
No.
This is about, because he's doing his job. Great job.
Yeah, I bet we probably like the guy.
Everything I know about him, good guy. Yeah. He obviously likes to party. I like to party. I'm settled down now, but game recognized game.
Exactly.
This is about this is me casting a wide net here. Our Southern Baptist so-called conservative politicians coming up here to the Capitol every session, creating new laws for us to have to live by. I guarantee you these folks' names are on a bill banning something or another.
Right. And
you go back and you find their election promises, their election campaigns, their agendas, and it's all, I'm going to steal Shaun's line here, it's all, I love Jesus 27% more than my opponent does. Vote for me, I'm going to do right by you. And then they have the audacity to come up here and do alleged illicit things with a waitress in a back room of a restaurant.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh too hard because I'm thinking about this whole thing is so stupid, right? The whole thing is
stupid to be stupid.
It's just so dumb that when we brought it up because Clay and I love stuff like this because we're just that kind of guys that enjoy those kinds of things and would partake in them. It's not a moral judgment. I don't think I'm not making a moral judgment about anything.
Lightning just texted us on the Guns and Gear text line, says, "Hey, no kids in the car. It's spring break for Rankin County."
That's right. I've heard that too.
So. Yeah. So that changes things.
Changes things a bit today.
I'm kidding. We're gonna keep it PG-13 today.
But it wasn't about hey, look, man. You're having a good time. I'm not gonna going to judge on that because, I'm done the same. But
hey, look, bro, I had to get an Uber to and from Shucker Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm never going to frown on somebody having a good time.
Mm-mm.
But speaking of which, shout out to Jason Odom, my Uber driver, big listener of the show, him and his wife, Catherine. I appreciate them both. Thank y'all. It was always great to get to break bread with somebody that I like, that breaks bread with me. So, yeah, it's a potential of hypocrisy.
Yeah, that's the issue. And just the like, I've got more phone calls this weekend, I think, than I have in my entire life. Like, off of this 7-minute segment that we had on Friday that has caused this, this kind of uproar. I mean, I heard from people I hadn't talked to in years.
Yeah.
Like, we're telling me this and this about it. And I'm like, look, we don't know anything. And then actually, you and I gleaned more information about the incident than we ever had, prior to Friday.
Yeah, I mean, look, allegedly, and I'm using that word a lot here because I had to cover my butt, there may be a video of this.
Yeah, we both heard that from different
Can't
sources.
Can't confirm or deny.
Yeah, can't confirm. Yeah, but I mean, we both heard that. That's a possibility. It seems a little fantastic, though, right? That somebody would have actually videoed that, but you never know.
I mean, nothing surprises me anymore. I should be surprised, but nothing surprises me anymore. If you were back there, if you're one of the guys back there, sometimes you just have to live in the moment.
You would think. I mean, if we were all there, and I mean, you're like pulling out your phone, and I'd be like, "Come on, bro! Like, what are you doing?
Not now.
Let's delete that.
Yeah,
we don't need to do that.
You need no memory of this. No. It's all up here.
Yeah, I mean, there's just. I mean, what are you gonna like rewatch it? And I mean, I don't know. There's plenty of other stuff available online that you can watch again. If you know what I mean. I don't know why. But that's. So anyway, so like the overreaction, I guess you would call it, to this 7-minute segment has caused us to learn new things about this incident that we never would have known before. And I just like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, some version of this happened.
I'm thinking something with some people. Again, we don't know who any of them are.
Yeah, so apparently there was a dinner. What we have gleaned from this, there was in fact a big dinner at a restaurant.
Yeah,
leadership was possibly there at some point earlier in the evening. A bunch of well-to-do individuals.
Yeah,
and some of the other guys stayed a little late, kept the party going. Very Shaun and Clay type move.
Yeah, that's
very Shaun and Clay type move. Kept the party going, and things popped off. All right, again, my problem isn't that it happened. My problem is I keep going back to this hypocrisy thing.
Yeah,
and then it's the insulting of my intelligence telling me that you know everybody that was there when this allegedly happened, but I never said when it allegedly happened.
I still have no idea when it happened.
Me either.
I don't know.
Been 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 6 months, 2
5
years
ago. I don't know. I mean, but it's just the uproar about it. That like especially when somebody mentions about legal stuff, and I'm like, wait a second, okay, I don't think anybody wants to do a deposition here. I mean, if they do, that's up to them. But
well, yeah, I mean, if you want to try to sue somebody for talking about a potential mythical story that no names were ever mentioned in, that means we're gonna know your names.
Yeah, I mean, you get to ask a lot of other questions in discovery, which nobody wants that.
No, I mean, nobody wants to ask how many times you've done this, and are you married?
Yeah, that's the questions I was thinking about.
What would your wife think of this?
I mean, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, so I thought that was a little. I don't know if that was a scare tactic or what it was, but I just all based on this. Just something that, like you said, we were saying this is like a joking kind of story. Thought it was funny.
And I want to give an example. We believe it or not, we get more stuff that we don't talk about
100%
than we do. This was just sensational and funny enough that it's like, well, let's roll with it because it's probably got some truth into it.
Right.
There's things I could tell y'all that they're probably true, but there's no way to prove it that go on around here. That make this look like nothing.
Oh, God. I mean, we were talking about that this week. All the stuff that we do hear that we just were like, we're not going to talk about that because that's too, out there. We haven't confirmed it.
I mean, I've heard rumors of a house that some of these guys have that some really crazy thing goes on at. But I can't prove that. And there's a part of me that just the delinquent wants to believe it's true because I have like that much faith in our leadership that, well, of course it's true.
Yeah. I've heard that. Of course, we've talked about that story that's out there. Not story, but rumor or whatever that is. But I mean, and the same thing. This was presented as just like a rumor that we'd heard several different versions of now, actually, over the weekend, several different versions of. So, like as on Friday, we never said that it was true, or we said it was a rumor, and now we're hearing different. It just the way that everybody's scurrying is what's the story.
It really is, and the fact that originally it was they bought the girl a Louis Vuitton purse, and then I've heard it was $1,800 cash, not a purse, which that would make way more sense to me. But either way, for a story that didn't happen, y'all have narrowed the people defending it have narrowed it down to, I knew everybody that was there that night. This didn't happen. Yeah, and now the purse has turned into $1,800.
And then when we didn't know there was a possible video, now there's a possible video. Like, and I didn't know anything about it.
And they're worried about it.
Yeah, and I mean, if these are nothing that we know or like they can prove, but this is what now stuff we didn't know that because of the reaction or the story to it, or the response, whatever you want to call it. That it was just interesting. I mean, how many times did we field phone calls about this weekend, Clay? I mean, I feel like my entire weekend was just consumed with it.
I unplugged Saturday when I went to the Crawfish Bowl and just refused to engage in any of it. But it was the entire weekend. I mean, I got told by somebody yesterday that's as plugged in as anybody at the Capitol that the two biggest stories down there right now was this and Andy Gibson stepping off in a pile over the IV, the
IVF. I haven't seen what he said yet.
We're gonna get to it later here in the show. I'm good. And as far as that goes, that's a little above my pay grade. Yeah. I mean, I get the nexus of the argument, but we'll listen to it. And it's so easy you mentioned abortion, and it's so easy to get people fired up on both sides. Right. And all that good stuff. So, but apparently these are the two biggest stories at the Capitol this weekend. Slow news week, I guess.
It must be, because I mean, the way I figured, if like nobody had been responsive about it, this thing nobody just remembered it. It was just a funny story about some legislators drinking too much or doing whatever they were doing. I mean, that are unnamed, by the way.
Yeah, I got a chuckle out of the guy sending, like a third party dude asking me to take it down.
That was interesting. That happened on Friday, right?
Yeah, that happened. Friday right after lunch. I'd gone to pick up those shirts and buy them. By the time I got home, I'd gotten a call saying, "Hey, people down at the Capitol want to know if you'll take it down." Yeah. So it's making them look bad. So it was the context was, this is what everybody thinks we do up here. This is making us look bad. Well, I mean, I'm not. It's obviously a small percentage of people that are really up here behaving badly. Sure. I mean, it really is a new generation of leadership. When I say leadership, I mean the legislators, the elected officials, not the two leaders, not Jason White and Delbert. I just mean everybody up there, the decision makers. Yeah. It's a new generation. I think most of the days of the sun and sand type stories are behind us, but this is one that has reappeared.
And if anybody knows about those sun and sand stories, I'm sure a lot of people listening have heard those, just like Clay and have our whole lives. And I knew legislators that were in the legislature like in the 70s, and the things they would tell me about what went on there were just crazy, like interesting. And one of them, a really good friend of mine, he's deceased now, but he just told me he said his wife said that he couldn't run for another term. He's like, if you wanted to stay married, that's what he used to tell me. And she told me that too. And like, she's like, it was crazy. It was just a crazy time in the 70s there. And, but the tradition may continue. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm kidding.
Yeah, this is such a weird story to talk about for me because, and you to an extent, because again, that kind of, I'm not offended by that type stuff.
Not at all.
I'm offended by the reaction.
That's what made me angry too. Like, I didn't care about I wish they called us. Yeah. And told us to come. We would have come. Like it's not that.
I can't anymore.
Yeah, you can. Okay, well, I would have come, guys. Yeah. And it's not that. It's just it's the getting upset about it. I mean, I don't think anybody in the public would even thought about it anymore if we, just that 7 minutes.
Yeah, like you tell me it didn't happen, but on the same side, you're telling me everybody that was there that night when we never said what night. Something happened one night up there because I felt you'll never convince me that lobbyists don't wine and dine legislators at this particular place, but once a month or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, this is a 5-night-a-week type thing up there during session. It's a 6-night-a-week. So I'm not going to, the fact y'all were able to narrow it down to a specific night, that something went on.
Yeah, it was a specific time, and they know, and again, it goes back to wine and dining. We don't care if you wine and dine the legislators. Like, that's cool. Like, do what you want.
I don't like it, but I understand that's the game.
It's not illegal.
Right now.
It's nothing illegal about it. I mean, do what you want to do, but I mean, if stories like, that's kind of what we do on this show. We talk about funny stuff like that comes up around town. I mean, how many times have we jumped on Chokeway for something stupid? About 1,000,000 times.
Oh, I mean, look, I called my own biases out off air the other day on this. I said, if this had been the Jackson delegation doing this, it would have been a whole different, because the Jackson delegation gets nothing done.
Right.
When I refer to the delegation, I'm not talking about David Blunt and them. I'm talking about just the Chokeway, the free the land regime. If I heard about them hanging out in the bar with other elected politicians doing the same very thing, I'd be like, they don't get to party. You don't get to have nice things when your red lights don't work.
Right. So it's kind of like a week ago or 2 weeks ago when we talked about Angelique Lee on the whole thing that happened. It's not that we wanted to talk about that. It's just, hey, look, you're an elected official. This happens. We talk about it. That's what it is. So. All
right, let's take a break. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. We'll be right back. Hey, Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. The phone line. Make sure it works around here. 601-879-0002. I'm telling you, I think I've spoiled y'all with the text line. I want to hear some phone calls. 601-879-0002. What do y'all think? Do y'all think our politicians would dare do something like this? We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. You guys have lit up the text message, and we got a caller on hold, so thank y'all. But first, let me tell you about my buddy Bruce over at iGear Optical right there in Pearl, Mississippi. iGear Optical will never hand out glasses like a box of shoes. Bruce will adjust your frames before taking the measurements and a second time after the lenses have been installed when you pick them up, just for a nice fine-tuning, and you get you a personalized fit, custom fit. Bruce, he's going to ask you a lot of questions, because he wants to make sure he gets the right lens for you, just the right amount of technology, and for all your wants and needs there. Man, I haven't had to wear glasses. I've been very lucky. I probably need some at this point, definitely some readers, but I don't need to get by there and see Bruce for just that. Hey, look, Bruce is also going to make sure you select the right frames for maximum comfort, durability, and style that fits your needs. I know the wrong frames, even on sunglasses, will cause you to get migraines. They're just bad, terrible headaches. So definitely try to avoid getting the wrong frames there. Look, hey, iGear Optical is not an insurance, because they want to deal with you instead of having an insurance company telling us how to take care of you. You know what that means. You're going to tell them what you want. They're going to fit it for you. Check them out. That's iGear Optical right there, Highway 80 in Pearl. Their slogan is, we fit glasses to you, your lifestyle, and your budget. Get your vision in high gear today. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 10 to 2. Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. That's iGearOptical.com for more information. Shaun, you look like you were ready to bust out your seat over there.
Oh, no. I was just reading a text message, but what's it called? No, not busting out. I'm just happy my car worked this morning and didn't blow up after this weekend. That's what I'm glad about. Right now, this morning I was easily pushing the ignition
Yeah, man, look, what a great way to go.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be a nice bookend to my career.
Well, we were talking about last night with Jerry Nash and Andy Taggart's book. Can they make this part of the Mississippi politics book, and then our cars explode? I guess I would add to that.
Yeah, I mean, this bunch of lactose intolerant, safe space, cry closet, modern day politicians that are down there at the Capitol now. That's the least of my concerns. I mean, there's some good folks down there, but I ain't too worried about any of them. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of people in the legislature that I like a lot, and I don't know what they do. Like, this is, I guess I'm not articulating this right. We weren't going on some crusade Friday morning, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. You know what I mean? When we talking about the story, we did it because we like kind of funny stuff like this, and so we decided we're going to talk about it. It wasn't like we were trying to do some investigative reporting and out corruption, or not corruption, but ethical scandals or whatever it is. And we weren't that wasn't our intent, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, apparently that's not us, but apparently some other investigative reporters have in fact decided to take this up. So we're going to find out.
Yeah, they all have it, is what I'm told. I mean, before we did.
Multiple true things I would never legitimately call myself as a reporter. I'm just not. I mean, it's a running joke, journalist. It's a running joke on my Facebook being internationally recognized because Sky News put that as my under my name when they interviewed me for the Jackson water crisis. But there's real journalists around here. Kingfish, C.J. LeMasters, Therese Apel, obviously. And I mean, I could go on and on and on. I don't really read the Mississippi Day or the Free Press stuff, but I'm sure there's some air quotes in the studio, real journalists over there.
Yeah.
So maybe one of them, find this interesting enough that they'll do the research. We'll find out if this story is true or not.
Well, I think that's true. I mean, because what we do is we usually, like you always say this, we react to stories. It's kind of like punditry. That's kind of what we're doing here. It's not just breaking stuff, but I mean, they do that work and they do great. And this is kind of like, I think you and Therese and Kingfish have talked about this before, the importance of independent media, and these, kinds of stories come out because there is an independent media. And that that will take the risks and look into things and all that kind of stuff. So, from what I'm told, that those organizations are doing their work on it long before we ever even heard of it. So
yeah, I think they were a little upset that we kind of cracked the egg.
Yeah, I think that's the impression I've gotten over the weekend. They weren't really happy about that, but that they had all been working on it before we ever did that.
On the Guns and Gear text line, Joe says, this rumor of the partying politicians is why supporting Trump and ridding them of the influence of lobbyists. Man, look. I'm going to tell y'all, I personally have lobbyists have always, in my short time doing this, lobbyists have been very nice to me. They've opened up their cabins at Neshoba, all these things, hospitality. I don't like our current system, but I don't mind somebody taking advantage of it because it's the current system. Like I'd be a hypocrite if I say, I can't stand that they do this. Then I would, but I'm the same person who says that Donald Trump, but people try to bash him for the bankruptcies and this and that and the other and taxes. He's just playing in the system.
Yeah.
Now, should we change the system? 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a different. Yeah, that's a true. I mean, that's a different thing, right? Should there be some kind of reform to it? Right. But right now, they're not. I wouldn't say that they're not violating the law. I mean, they're not doing anything that's not legal. That's their job, and they lobby for things. They have clients. I get that. It doesn't bother me at all.
And I get the need for lobbyists. Heck, we're probably going to have lunch today with one. Mm-hmm. It's a friend of ours. There's a need for lobbyists. I was talking to Jameson Saturday. There's a new bill coming up that the tree service industry is very concerned about. It's a dumping bill. Right, we're going to talk more about that. And they feel like there could be some back door there to force who they deal with to dump and burn their trees. So, and I was just thinking to myself, well, that would seem like a good job for a lobbyist. Sometimes the people are the lobbyists. But I'm not here to bash lobbyists. It's the moral of my story. Mm-hmm. But I can also say that some of what they do, like this, it shines a negative light on the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. It's not the actual fact of lobbying or just whining and dining, but then this kind of stuff happens, and then you have this kind of reaction to it where it's like, oh God, well, if this is okay above board, then why are you guys freaking out? That's kind of the thing I think that bothers people.
Hey, and at the end of the day, if y'all didn't want the story out, you should have kept your mouth shut.
Yeah, I mean, especially about if that's true and there's an actual video, which, that's why. But then I guess we got a text message from somebody that said there was those guys that made that video when they were having sex in the Capitol building, so people video stranger things. I mean,
unknown person here on the Guns and Gear text line, we're going to go to break after this, says, I'm mad because I only wish Shaun and I could have been benefited and piggybacked from someone else buying the LV purse, the Louis Vuitton purse. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, you want a great plate lunch today, and you're going to be in Jackson. Hit up Martin's downtown. Try one of their great plate lunch specials, the blue plate, or heck, just order something off the menu. You will never be disappointed. Hey, and don't forget, every Friday night is ribeye steak night. Grab the boys, grab the girl, whomever. Grab the group of girls. Get down there, grab some great cocktails, listen to some live music, and try one of the best steaks that you will put in your mouth there at Martin's downtown. And coming up on Saturday, March 23rd, it is the St. Patty's Day Parade down there at Martin's, the after party. The biggest after party will be at Martin's with the 90s country cover band, my boys, the Mustache Band, playing live. Going to be a good time here in 90s country in Jackson, Mississippi. When was the last time country music was played in Jackson?
Oh, no.
I mean, other than the Dixie Nationals.
Yeah.
So we're going, that'll be a good time. Looking forward to all that. Don't forget, I still have some green FAFO shirts available if you're going to the parade or the after party and you want to rock the Mississippi MAGA. That is the FAFO shirt. Holler at your boy. Check out buyfafo.com. Buyfafo.com. When we come back, we ran over big time during that one segment, so it cut into these other segments. When we come back, top of the hour, we're going to dive into MSNBC saying that rural voters, particularly rural white voters, are the greatest threat to democracy. I'm not surprised, but it's just everything that they keep telling us that they think we do, they do. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, they're treating us like black folks in the '60s.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just pulled the article up. Look at this quote from it.
All right, hold that tight. We're going to the break. We'll see you back. Goes the dynamite. It's hour 2 here on the Clay Edwards Show. This segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at Advanced Tree Care. They are a certified, licensed tree surgeon. You can reach them at 601-455-TREE. Hey, look, man, here's some of the things they can do over there. They specialize in proper pruning, trimming. They're open 24/7, 365. They offer tree removal, tree pruning, tree cabling, brush and debris haul-off, stump grinding, lot cleaning, and storm work cleanup. They are best known for taking down the trees other guys walk away from. Their slogan is, "We go out on a limb for you." Guys, that wasn't me. I was not aware of this. Sorry, Sean. I wasn't aware of this, but you know that we're in the middle of what could be declared a natural disaster with the dead trees.
Really?
In Mississippi, like they're efforting to get Tate Reeves to sign a disaster declaration over all the dead trees from the drought and everything.
Because it was so dry last year.
Yep. So apparently business is booming in the tree industry.
I bet.
There are some laws working their way through that I spoke of earlier that could negatively affect them. I have alerted Mr. Shanks of these, and we're going to try to get to the bottom of some of the language in some of them. And that is the best way you can lobby, right? Is reach out to you, become the lobbyist, start reaching out to your representatives, and keep up with what's going on. You are your greatest lobby.
I mean, yeah, that's how's that? Did he get that squatted truck bill? I guess somebody probably went to Fred and said, "Hey, this is a good idea," right? I assume that's what would happen.
I actually think that was a personal thing.
Was it a personal thing?
And not in a bad way, but
no,
like when he saw and decided, hey, you know, he's a car guy.
Okay.
And he saw an issue with it from a safety standpoint. I disagree somewhat, just because I'm like, here we go banning things, but he's not 100% wrong, you know. Yeah. But again, your best lobbying is you picking up that phone and calling your representative. Squeaky wheel usually gets the grease. But real quick, back to Advanced Tree Care. Give them a call today, guys. Lock the number in 601-455-8733. Easier to remember if you just go 601-455-TREE. And that'll get them on the phone for you.
The only, I guess, finishing up, with this Capitol body shots controversy, right? The one thing I do want to say is, can we make T-shirts? Do you think that's a hashtag Capitol body shots?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm kidding.
You got to figure out something little. It got to be salacious enough on the shirt itself. We can always make shirts to say anything though. So.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the next shirt idea to get out there.
Let's jump into some. Well, let's read a few of your texts. I've asked you guys to text in. Let's do this real quick. On the Guns and Gear text line, Jerry says, you need to set up a merchandise table at the St. Patty's Day parade somewhere. Martin's parking lot, maybe. I really hate to have to lug all that stuff around. I'm hoping people will just buy in advance and be done with it. Let's see here. Unknown texter. Save me the mansplaining. That's why I go to sports on the radio. In the military, there's a saying, what happens on deployment stays on deployment. Folks at the Capitol need to adopt this mantra. Absolutely. Someone says, FAFO does not discriminate. No, we don't, man. I mean, look, I'm going to call it out. I get accused of talking about what the black folks do around here more, and I feel like I run cover for the white folks. That's not the case. When my ilk F around, they will, in fact, find out. But the demographics around here dictate that the overwhelming majority of FAFOers are black. It's not my fault. That's just That's just the demographics. It would make my life a lot easier. White people love this tea more so.
They do, as we've learned.
Like when I spill white tea, my numbers are through the roof. I mean, I've heard that the server's crashing this morning already.
That's what I've heard
the
too.
Streaming. You know, when we spill white tea, it's good for business. When I spill black tea, it's again.
Yeah, I mean, white people love to hear about crap on other white people. That's what I've always noticed. That like it's just something, you know. And like I said, I've never taken this many phone calls over in one weekend than I can remember. I mean, over something just so I don't know, trivial, I guess you would say.
Yeah. By the way, the last texter wants to be saved in the text line as mansplain.
Mansplain, okay.
Or no, mapslain. Mapslain. I'm sorry, I thought it said mans. No, it is mansplain. Got it. They weren't mansplaining. All right, more text real quick. And we got a caller on hold.
Yeah.
But I want to get to this MSNBC article. Blake says, it's like they're implicating themselves by the reaction, as opposed to if they had just left it alone, nobody would have known anything more about it.
That's exactly
what we said. Yep, agree 100%.
Yep.
See if there's any more text I need to clear up. David says, was the lady from Jones County there?
We can confirm that she was not. She was not there. I think she's still in jail.
She's still in jail. Somebody has set up a bogus Facebook account or has hacked hers and is posting stuff, and people think it's her defending her relationships with her animals. It's a very, very strange situation, but it's quasi entertaining simultaneously as being absolutely disgusting.
Well, from a legal standpoint, she's going to be in jail. I told Clay this before. A friend of mine was down at the jail in Forest County and said she was there, and so she had, I guess, committed that crime. Was out on bond for it, and then did it again. Was arrested again, and there's something in the Constitution, the state Constitution, Article 3, Section 29, means you can't get another bond if you're charged with a crime that carries more than 5 years. Anyway, so she's not bondable right now, is what I've been told. So she's going to be sitting there for a while.
Let's take a call. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, what's going on? Happy MAGA Monday.
Thank you.
Hey, Shaun, I'm really digging the St. Patty's Day swag you got.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I didn't know if y'all saw where March 19th through 21st, the Goon Squad is getting sentenced.
No, I hadn't seen that yet.
I hadn't seen
that. I thought.
Saw it on 16 APT's website. Also, don't let everybody forget tomorrow's primary, the big voting day.
I didn't even think about that. The tomorrow's it seems like the primary season's over, but yeah, you're right. It is tomorrow.
Well, Democrats don't have to go vote. It's Republicans.
Yeah. I guess is Nikki Haley still on the ballot? I guess, right? I don't
know if she's still on the ballot.
I think all of them are still on there.
Yeah. Well. If you're getting out to vote tomorrow, vote Trump. I mean, duh.
Right. Exactly. But you guys have a safe Monday.
Thanks, Tyson. Have a good one,
man.
All right.
Goon Squad is sentenced to be sentenced. It's next week. So
good stuff.
I have not read that yet, but 19th to 21st.
So we will see if any deals have been reached.
That'll be an interesting. See, and by that time, everybody will have forgot about the Capitol body shots thing.
Yep.
It'll be on to this thing, and that's the way we thought it was going to be left. But now, it's a little different. So.
Absolutely. All right, so here's shifting gears. Some national stuff that affects us locally. NBC says rural white Americans, in particular, are, in fact, the greatest threat to democracy. Here is a segment straight off of MSNBC. If you're not mad yet, you will be.
Are white rural voters a threat to democracy at this point? You would think, as we pointed out, looking at Joe Biden's background and Donald Trump's, that the opposite would be true.
I mean, we lay out the fourfold interconnected threat that white rural voters pose to the country. First of all, and we show 30 polls and national studies to demonstrate this. So we provide the receipts in Chapter 6. They're the most racist.
By the way, this is a guy named Tom Shaler. He wrote a book called White Rural Rage.
Xenophobic, anti-immigrant, and anti-gay geodemographic.
Oh no, we're gonna reset that right there.
The whole regime to punish white people on the basis.
Donald Trump's that the opposite would be true.
I mean, we lay out the fourfold interconnected threat that white rural voters pose to the country. First of all, and we show 30 polls and national studies to demonstrate this. So we provide the receipts in Chapter 6. They're the most racist, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, and anti-gay geodemographic group in the country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribers, election denialism, COVID denialism, and scientific skepticism, Obama birtherism. Third, anti-democratic sentiments. They don't believe in an independent press, free speech. They're most likely to say the president should be able to act unilaterally without any checks from Congress or the courts or the bureaucracy. They're also the most strongly white nationalists and white Christian nationalists. And fourth, they are most likely to excuse or justify violence.
What do, here's the part I don't understand, Shaun. Are we? I'm not against an independent media. They are against an independent media.
Who is the guy speaking again?
Tom Shaler. He wrote a book called White National Rage. I mean, Rural White Rage.
So he's just a guest on some program there. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. And they actually had this guy on. That I mean, I'm still. You saw me like while I was listening to it, I was just laughing. I'm like, God bless, man, MSNBC. Why are you doing this? It's not, this is kind of like, you think the lesson from 2016 would have been learned about deplorables.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is like, hey, guess what? We hate white voters. Like, that's really stupid.
Yeah.
That's really stupid.
Unless you vote Democrat, we hate you.
Oh, man. I mean, it's like nobody learns anything from history ever. To me, it seems like. They never learn.
This reminds me of Brandon Presley during his campaign running on the TAMP stuff and thinking that was the hot button issue.
Yep.
No, that's the hot button issue in the liberal white community on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah. This is the same thing. This is the white liberal Twitter blaming us for all their problems. Bro, y'all got control.
Well, and that's, I talk to you about this all the time, but, when I became a Democrat was in the 90s when the party of the working class, and these voters that they're now saying suck, essentially. I mean, that's what they were the party of, and Ohio and Pennsylvania and those kinds of things. And now they're saying, nope, guess what? We hate you guys, because we think that you're racist or you're I don't know how they is there a poll you can take to say who's the most racist or the most anti-gay or you know what I mean? Like they're lumping this group in and saying that they're with actual data somehow or claiming to have data.
And somehow I've gone on a limb and also say that the most gay people in America are also white people.
Yeah, probably.
I think there's more gay whites. Now it's rampant in the black community too. Mm-hmm. But there's more gay whites in white communities, even in rural Mississippi.
I mean,
neither here nor there. Plenty of gay friends. It's not an attack on you guys. It's just the culture. Yeah. And just the audacity of these people and the xenophobe. What is a xenophobe again?
Oh, God. I knew you were going to ask me that, and I was not going to remember. I think it's like being anti-ethnic groups or something. I can't remember. I know what it is, but I just...
Isn't that what racism is?
It's like, it's similar, I think. And I forget right now. I'm sounding stupid, but I really do forget. It's a dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries. Okay. I gotcha.
Absolutely, I'm not a xenophobe.
Yeah.
100%.
Neither. I don't hate my dad. So,
yeah, 100%. I have no ill will towards anybody from another country. I have ill will towards people who came here illegally. And I don't care what country you came from. There is a process. And I believe that most, you've told me yourself, that most immigrants agree with this, the ones that came the right way.
100%. They do, yeah.
They hold a grudge against these ones that did it the easy way.
Yeah, my dad complains about this constantly. It's so funny because, I used to be more like, oh, well, let's let more people in. Like, Dad, you came here, like that kind of thing. Like, and then he's like, you kidding me? He's like, how hard it was for me to go through all this process and do all this stuff. He's like, these guys are just cheating. That's the way he always looked at it, And so, and I think that's kind of the prevalent view in the legal immigrant community is like, we had to go through all these things to become citizens, to stay here, all these trials and tribulations to do that. And then these folks are just cheating and they're getting on and they don't like it. It's kind of like similar to like, when Biden's talking about student loans, right? And people that didn't go to college get mad because they're like, well, or they paid off their loan already. They're like, why are these people getting to do this the easy way out? And you can get that argument. I can see that both ways. But so that's where I think immigrants have legal immigrants have that feeling because they're like, we had to do all this stuff and then you guys are just essentially just getting a free pass, and that's not fair.
Yeah, this really makes me mad. Mm-hmm. I just this blind blanket they're throwing over all of us because we don't agree with all of your nonsense. We're all racist, bigots, homophobes, transphobes. They sound like one of my stalkers when they say all that stuff.
Well, that's what I was just saying a minute ago. Like, Did they do a poll on who's the most racist and xenophobic? Now that I know what the word means, and
then they throw in COVID deniers and election deniers.
I mean, I just and even notice they use all these big words for stuff like this too. Like glad we brought up xenophobia, and like the next one, the other term of art I always hear is gaslighting, which is something I didn't even know what it was a couple of years ago. I had to look it up, and then I constantly forget.
Well, I tell you, I made a post the other night. If you watch the State of the Union, you got a master class in gaslighting.
But isn't that a new term?
It is.
Like
I'd never heard it before. Some angry woman dredged it up. Or I think white liberals actually dredged it up during the Trump era. That's the first time I heard it from an angry, fat white liberal lady that was mad at me about something, told me I was gaslighting her. And I didn't even know what it meant, like you. And, of course, they love to throw in the word narcissist as well. Let's take a call real quick.
Okay.
Hey, you're on there.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Hey, I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that we're not a democracy here. We're a republic.
Yes.
So,
well, we understand that. They don't.
Well, yeah, I get it. But I noticed, too, that they're using the term white Christian nationalist. They're trying to, I guess, slowly over time, make the word Christian look even worse to them. So they're trying to, I guess, they're doing the same thing they're accusing others of doing.
100%. It's been their calling card for the last since 2015.
Yeah, in 2020, when all those cities burned, I don't remember a lot of white Christian nationalists or rural whites doing all that. So
no, it was black folks, and it was white purple-haired liberals in their Black Lives Matter shirts burning down black cities. And then blaming it on racism. So wild concept there.
Right, have a good morning.
You too, brother. Thank you. Let's take a break.
Sure.
Let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back with Clay Edwards and Shaun Yurtkuran on 103.9 FM, WYAB. Come back into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, Lakeland Glass and Tint. You get out there this week, take advantage of some of their big specials they got. You can check out LakelandGlassandTint.com to get a quote today. Hey, look, man, you already know. They're back-to-back years. They're Expel window tint and ceramic coating and all that. The company Expel, they get everything from. They were their dealer of the year, installer of the year, back-to-back years. Little old Lakeland Glass in Jackson, Flowood, Mississippi. And I don't mean that as an insult by any means, but it just shows you can be number one at anything if you work hard enough. It doesn't matter where you're at or where you're from. And Lakeland Glass and Tint has proven that with dedication and customer service and doing things the right way, that right here in central Mississippi, they can be the number one company in all of America for Expel, which is who they get their window tint, ceramic coating, and all that good stuff from in wraps. So get over there, check it out. Expel is the number one product in the world when it comes to window tint and all that type technology, paint protection film, ceramic coating, and more. They can do it all at Lakeland Glass and Tint. Want to turn your vehicle into a rolling billboard? That's where you want to go. Lakeland Glass and Tint. Let them design a wrap for you and get it on there, and boom, you got a name tag, you got a write-off. Hey, you own a business in Madison or somewhere that is very, very expensive to get a sign? Hey, loophole, wrap your vehicle, park it out by the road. There's your sign. And you get to drive it around. So check them out, Lakeland Glass and Tint. Of course, don't forget windshields. I had another rock hit mine this morning. It looks like somebody's hit it with a baseball bat at this point. I'm glad I haven't replaced it. But if you do get your replacement windshield, they give you a free card with it that's good for one free rock pick fix at any time throughout the ownership of that windshield. So that's definitely worth its weight in gold around here. They're doing all this work on the interstates around here, so it's been Hades on windshields. But check them out. Get a quote today at LakelandGlassandTint.com. Shaun, let's pick back up where we left off here.
Okay.
You made a great point during the break that if you want to try to entice voters into your party, to calling them all, shaming them into it, ain't going to be how you do it. And you brought up another great point about does the Democrat Party just want to be a party of black, brown, and gay people?
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like they want. They're run by this theory called faculty lounge politics, which is a new thing that James Carville
faculty lounge
politics, and James Carville actually says this a lot because if anybody ever listens to him, but he's great, longtime Democratic strategist. He's just an amazing guy. Anyway, and he says that the problem is that they're now run by what's called faculty lounge politics, and what that kind of means is professors sitting around drinking coffee, talking about all these theories and things we should do, and ethics and
people
morals.
who don't work.
People don't work. They're not regular people.
They got tenure.
Mm-hmm. And so it's called faculty lounge politics, and they've kind of run the party in that direction. Where, as you and I were saying at the break, the Democratic Party was made up of a blue collar class of voters, and it was kind of even in the 80s. Everybody's probably heard this term, or well, I don't know. We're older now, so maybe younger folks haven't, but called Reagan Democrats, and they were blue collar voters that voted for Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, which was a change from what they'd usually voted for, Democrats. And
it's kind of what MAGA is today.
Yeah, the Reagan Democrat is actually, that's a good point, is like it's kind of the the genesis of MAGA for real. If you look at it, I mean, those voters are our parents' age and older now. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of what the beginnings of that MAGA movement, and that kind of changed in the 90s. George H.W. Bush got elected, and he was a country club Republican, so he didn't really represent that Reagan group as much, But
I always refer to them as white-collar Republicans.
Right, that's great, white-collar Republicans. And that's who the Republican Party kind of represented. They were kind of the upper-crust folks. Like, they were, they weren't the party of the blue-collar voter. Well, that's, as we were talking about, has switched now, where the blue-collar white voter votes for the Republicans, and now the Democrats are a coalition of I guess, ethnic minorities, and
oppressed groups.
Yeah, and they just built
self-oppressed groups.
But they've done this. I guess they did this to themselves. But it's kind of interesting, the evolution of it, because they, the Democrats always were for free speech and making a colorblind society. Like, we're going to make a color, which has always been my goal and reason I became a Democrat at a young age. But but somehow that goal has been turned into like this Orwellian nightmare of everything's based on your identity, or something like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's that's the most important thing, is whether you're black or brown, or you're from, China, or you're like me, you're Turkish, or whatever it is. Those things matter more than the colorblind society that was the goal.
Hold that thought. Y'all, I want y'all to grab a pen, a pencil, paper, or something. I want you to write down 8:32 a.m., 8:33 a.m. on March 11th, or is today the 12th?
Today's the 11th.
The 11th, March 11th. Shaun just dropped an Orwellian reference.
Oh, yeah, I just did, yeah. Well, I don't even know if I used it properly, actually. I just kind of came out.
You did. You're a full right-wing now.
Oh, God.
You're full. You're MAGA. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Yeah.
Welcome.
I mean, well, and I think I think we were talking about this weekend. What always makes me angry is I've had friends of mine, they're like, will say things like, how can somebody vote for Trump? I mean, right? Like, this is crazy. How could somebody do that? And I'm like, well, if you don't see why they are, you're missing the point. Like, if you ask that question, it's a stupid question, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Like, if you don't see why, I said, because what we're doing over here is saying that you're bad if you're blue collar or you're white, and you need to do everything we say. And if you don't do that, then you're just a racist, or now we know what xenophobia means, and you're bad. And so, like, how do you get somebody to vote for you when you tell them they're wrong? Like, and that they're bad people by the virtue of their birth. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's not going to.
That's what y'all keep telling us we can't do to black people.
Yeah, and then you couldn't, and then people were doing that to black people, and that was wrong, and that was the whole goal, to get rid of that kind of stupidity. Yeah, they were racist for it. They were just trying
you can't do it to them, but it's okay to do it to us.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like the reverse now. Like before, and I'm not saying reverse racism. I hate but
racism's racism. There's no reverse racism.
Yeah, right. It's just racism. So we all agree, like, that was a horrible thing that happened to black folks, especially, during obviously slavery, but during segregation. In most of our parents' lifetime, people we know lived during this time. It's not like we're talking about 1520 or anything. This is not that long ago in terms of that. And it was horrible. And everybody worked so hard to change that. And, and I think we've done a pretty good job. I mean, I know people want to, pull out, hey, well, this is it's still racist. We have work to do. I'm not saying there's not work to do, but let's look where we were from the 60s to where we are today. It's a massive change.
Well, there was an overcorrection with diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff, this DEI initiatives, and the death of George Floyd, and just the panic that set in thereafter, or the opportunity that was seized by these groups and these people with these gender degrees and ethnic degrees and all that stuff that really they're not worth the paper they're printed on.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity for them to seize these corporations and basically to create jobs for a bunch of faculty lounge type people.
Yeah, that's what you got.
And now you're seeing Florida ban it. Like the University of Florida just fired their entire DEI department. $5 million a year was being spent in the DEI department. That can now go to other things on that campus, hiring people in positions they actually need.
And let's think about that for a moment. I'm glad you brought that up. DEI, right? Or diversity, equity, inclusion. Okay. It's like implementing programs like that are saying that we haven't worked as hard as we have for the last 60, 70 years to change the way the system was. And it was wrong.
Can't argue that.
It was wrong. What happened was terrible. I mean, horrible. Like, I can't say it. I don't have some words to use. But the fact that you're denying that there's been all this work done and then everybody is just still just a bunch of 1960s racists, well, that's just not true. Now, are there some racists out there? Yeah, sure, there are. But, I mean, it's not like what we came from, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I think now what you're doing is saying, okay, well, now we're going to make everybody that is not in some group, whether you be black, brown, Middle Eastern like me or whatever, and then you're bad. Like, you're automatically bad because you're not in that group that was, once oppressed or whatever.
Yeah, well, somewhere there was a big flip, and I'm not the one that Democrats like to point to justify to whitewash their racism of the 60s. That was all done basically by Democrats and Dixiecrats. They like to pretend that somewhere there was a big flip and then Republicans became Democrats and Democrats became Republicans, and this whole big fuss. But I don't believe it's a myth. That's an urban legend. That's QAnon to me. But what is real is there has been a big flip over the last 20 years in these parties.
Yeah.
And it's this new, it ain't a left-right thing though so much, but it's like now the Republican Party, well, minus the rhinos, I'm using Republicans for a lack of a better term. Why don't we say America First MAGA Party? They just so happens to have to fall under the Republican Party because, well, the Democrats are worse and Trump has to run as a Republican. That crew socially probably has way more in common with the 1960s hippies that were free speech, free love, anti-war.
Certainly the barstool conservatives that we talk about all the time.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Anti-war. And, it's just this weird convergence between the Christian conservative and the barstool conservative of sorts.
That is a weird mix. That is a tough mix that y'all have to kind of juggle, you know what I mean?
Kind of juggle. But, still I think your core values determine that, right? Some people hide their whiskey under the counter at the house while banning it for everybody else, and some people keep it on the counter.
Sure.
But an overwhelming majority have their whiskey at the house.
Yeah, I think we...
You know what I'm saying? But we've become very anti-foreign intervention, where now it seems like the Democrats and the rhinos in Washington, D.C., this uniparty that seems to run this country, they've never met a foreign intervention they didn't like. And it's just like that. And I still think that most of your like Trump MAGA type conservatives are anti-union because they've just gone so far left and they're donating all their money to these left-wing politicians. Where I think in the 60s, 70s, 80s, the Reagan era, I think the unions were still defenders of blue-collar, middle-class America, and now it feels like they're not. And I know we got some different type of unions here. I'm referring to the big ones. It's why they try to keep unions out of here, because they're ruining companies at this point.
Well, I also noticed that the people that are in unions now, and I know a lot of them, and one of my friends actually runs a business that just deals directly with unions, and we talk about this a lot. They're Republicans in the union, even though the union leadership is donating to Democrats. Yeah. But those guys have become Republicans when they once were Democrats before.
Yeah,
in the past.
Agreed. You're saying that better than I am. But I think that's why these Democrats become so political. I mean, not Democrats; these unions have become so politicized, and I know they always have been, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they get the power and do the things they
do. Sure.
But it just doesn't seem to benefit America anymore.
Yeah, but you're talking about this flip. It's just interesting how this has all evolved into where we're at now. And I think, Clay, I think it boils down to something really, really simple when you think about it. It's not just the Democrats are calling white people racist or whatever, all this junk. I think what it is that people's lives have changed so much over the last 34. I use 1990 as like a benchmark. They've changed so much because of technology. Things have just radically changed. You know, the difference between 1950 and like 1990 wasn't that substantial. I mean, there was some obviously technological things, but the kind of breakthroughs that we've had, our society is radically different than what it was in 1990. And a lot of people, I think, feel like they got left behind. And that's why they're mad. And they have a right to be mad because their jobs got outsourced and they can't, you know, they can't provide for 2 kids and a wife and otherwise they can't do those things that they saw their parents do,
yep,
that they wish that they should be able to do and have a good blue collar job that they make, you know, $100,000 a year. But we already sent that job to Mexico or we sent it, you know, China or whatever it is.
And they told them they had to go to college and take on $100,000 in college loan debt for this 4-year degree because that was going to be the only way you had a decent middle-class job in America was to go to college. And it's all a big scam. Let's take a break. Yep. We'll unpack it more on the other side with Shaun Yurtkuran on The Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, Acme Pizza and Daiquiris open 7 days a week, 4 p.m. till midnight. Fannin Mart on the Reservoir right there. I guess you call it Flowwood or 047 Brandon. It's debatable which one's which out there sometimes. It's all Flowwood to me. But you know what I'm talking about. Right there in front of Fannin Lanes, the bowling alley. It's Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. They had a big IndyCar watch party yesterday with our friends Christy Kendall and that whole bunch with the Carters Association, the big IndyCar fans. I saw that John Bon Jovi and Brett Michaels were both at the IndyCar race. I guess John Bon Jovi's son is racing now or something along those lines. Golly, two of my favorite rock stars from the 80s. Anyway, off topic. They had a big deal out there. They had a race car out there, I think, and some other cool stuff. You never know what you're going to see out there at Acme Pizza and Daiquiris, but what you will see every time you go is great pizza, frozen daiquiris. They got 12 different specialty pizzas, 9 different frozen daiquiris on tap, and available for takeout or delivery. Give them a call today. They're on all major food delivery apps, including locally owned Take a Break deliveries. So check out Acme Pizza and Daiquiris, 4 p.m. to midnight, 7 days a week, live music on Fridays, and they have a DJ on Saturday nights playing them throwback jams from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. All right, Shaun, let's hard change a topic here, but we've exhausted that. Joe Biden. I want to end the show today with a couple things on Joe Biden. 35 years ago, Joe Biden gave the Democrat response to a George Bush speech. This is what Joe Biden said then.
To put it in very personal terms for a moment, Joe Biden, I would settle for a world in which I could worry about the same kinds of things that my parents worried about, in which I only had to worry about the grades my children got in school rather than the drugs they're being exposed to, in which I only had to worry about the prices my wife had to pay at the supermarket instead of fearing that she might get mugged by a junkie in the parking lot as she loads her groceries into the car, in which tonight I could call my mom just to wish her pleasant dreams, not for the purpose of making sure she's safe in her own home. That's the kind of world I want. That's the kind of world you deserve. In a nutshell, the president's plan doesn't include enough police officers to catch the violent thugs, not enough prosecutors to convict them, not enough judges to sentence them, and not enough prison cells to put them away for a long time. We disagree with the president's decision to cut back on our previous commitment to protect against drugs coming across the border,
Jesus.
To cut the Customs Service, the Coast Guard, and the Border Patrol. We think we should do more to stem the flow of drugs across our borders, and we think we should go one step further. Let's go after the drug lords where they live, with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it. And we don't have to promise a world without worry or fear. We're not asking for that much. All we have to do together is to keep our promises and stay together.
Shaun, hold on. I know you're chomping at the bit over there, but we got to play one more Joe Biden thing because we got to make sure we get all this in. Now, fast forward to 2024. This was Joe Biden.
But during your response,
hold on. This was Joe Biden apologizing for calling Laken Riley's murderer an illegal instead of whatever it was. Anyway, here it is.
But during your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look.
So he apologizes for calling him illegal instead of undocumented, a man that came across the border and killed an American citizen. I wonder what would the outrage be from the left if that had been a black female college student, not a white one, whose dad is a Trump supporter.
Yeah. It's my friend. Yeah, no, I think you're probably right about that. But he just for one moment, he's talked about changing the word he was using from illegal to undocumented. I made a little couple notes listening to the first thing. He used the word junkie.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think in any world today that you could say junkie and not get canceled?
Republicans get mad at me when I call these people up and down the streets of Jackson junkies. I'm not being sensitive enough. They're junkies. So
the current president of the United States, 30 years ago, in a response to the former president of the United States State of the Union, made a comment referring to a drug addict as a junkie.
Yeah.
I just think it tells you everything where we were then and where we are now. Well, that was acceptable in that kind of formal forum to say that word. And now, do you think Joe Biden would use the word junkie today? No way. Oh, my God. I mean, they'd go crazy if he said that.
The world is mad at The Rock right now, and I stay mad at The Rock ever since he was gushing over over Biden and Kamala when he interviewed him, and just soul to soul right there on national TV, acting like a little 16-year-old gushing over a New Kids on the Block member in 1989. But he was back in wrestling right now, and he called a guy a cross-dresser the other night.
Okay.
And, the woke mob is mad at The Rock.
Because he used the word cross-dresser?
And the guy is a cross-dresser. His character is a cross-dresser.
Okay.
He literally wears his wife's clothes. I mean, whatever. It's ridiculous. But you're not allowed to call things what they are.
And then he also said, I made a few notes here during this, because I thought this was really interesting. He said, let's build more prison cells, right? Which, of course, we're all supposed to be against now, which I am against that, but I'm just saying, it's interesting that he was talking about we need more prisons and more prosecutors and all that stuff.
And ironically, Jerry mentioned here on the Guns and Gear text line, his son is now a junkie.
Yeah, right, that's right. Exactly. I mean, if somebody called him a junkie, he'd probably get mad about that. And then he said he wanted to have a strike force invade Mexico to stop which is, I think, something that Ron DeSantis said, if I'm remembering this correctly, where Biden was going crazy about that.
Yeah.
But he wanted a strike force to invade Mexico. Clay, I'm going to say something about this. If the Joe Biden of 19, was it 91 there?
It was 35 years ago, so whatever that was.
You might have voted for that guy.
I'd have voted for that Joe Biden.
You might have voted for that guy.
That 90s crime law Joe Biden. Bring back that Biden.
I mean, he sounded like Clay Edwards in that freaking response, like junkie and invade Mexico, get the drug dealers where they live. I mean, those are all pretty tough stances.
Yeah, 4 more years.
I think that's a good example for what we talk about on here, too, about when I talk about when I became a Democrat in the 90s. Like, that was the Democratic Party then. That Joe Biden was one of the leaders of it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That was what was going on, this kind of stuff. And now we've evolved into I can't believe I called that dude an illegal that killed the lady. I mean, that's just, okay.
Mic drop moment. Let's take our last break. Come back, land the plane for the day. Breaking rules when necessary. I think that's what we accomplished today, Shaun.
Yeah, I think so.
If y'all ever had to wonder what that phrase meant, I think today's show really encapsulates breaking rules when necessary.
You ain't kidding. Friday to today and this weekend, some rules got broken.
I mean, look, man, I quote Kim Wade a lot because I really, really admire Kim Wade. Kim Wade says, we're going to bust it up at the door. And, the more I do this, the more I understand that. And there's things I waffle around on some. And because when you do this 5 days a week and you have to talk for 2 hours a day, sometimes you will, in fact, talk yourself into a hypocritical circle. Mm-hmm. When you're doing things in live time and you're sorting through how you feel about things, and you have to give an instant reaction to every news story, or at least that's the goal anyway. We're a news reaction show. Mm-hmm. This isn't like a show you're going to come to and get a well thought out opening monologue. There's other shows that do that. I like to look at reactions, dumb stuff, and explaining my thoughts on dumb stuff. And we're going to keep doing that. And I know some people get mad when we talk about some of the silly stuff, but we're going to do that too.
Yeah, I mean, but man, I tell you what, it's been a ride since Friday. I think I need a shot or something. Like if we're going to do that for lunch.
I swore I would start working out today. Back working out. I hadn't been in the gym in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 4. So it's like today is the day. I'm back up to 290. I've gained 30 pounds in the last year. I got to get back in the gym today. Shaun, it's been a fun one.
Yep.
We'll see you back Wednesday. Of course, I'll be here every day this week, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. The podcast is always available on demand, usually by 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Just search Clay Edwards Show wherever you download podcasts, stream music, YouTube when we're not banned, and, of course, always on Rumble. Just search Clay Edwards Show. Hey, don't forget our podcast and put up Kim Wade's podcast too. So if you miss any of his show from 4 to 6 daily, just search Kim Wade Show or go to thekimwadeshow.com. I will see y'all guys tomorrow.